All right. Welcome to today's webinar. So today it's a concluding part of our Power BI overview series. I call it overview series because there's a lot in Power BI that you need to play around and have a lot of hands-on and add your own little creativity in your design. So, but this whole series will definitely give you basic exposure to Power BI, how you can design and and then publish a report and all of that. So, if this is your first time in this watching either this video or live here, this webinar, you probably would need to see the part one, which I believe is already published on YouTube, and part two of it. This is part three. Last week we talked about, just a recap, the first part was really more about us talking about theoretical information about Power BI, what Power BI is, the components of Power BI, the features, Power BI flavors, and we did basic report. We learned how to access different sources. And then the second part, we talked about how to load data from SQL Server, and then how to transform data, how to automate a report refresh, and then how to install and configure data gateway. And then, of course, we did some other exploration, of Power BI in the last session. Okay, so I don't know if I cover everything that we talked about, but that's high level of some of the things that I can remember right now. But if you want the detail, please go check out the video for the overview Power BI part one and part two. And this is the concluding part. I will try as much as possible to, conclude in this part so we can move to something else. All right. So the agenda for today, the part that I highlighted, the part that we've covered, I think from the last class, I did not mention what we did in part one. I mean on my screen, but I spoke about it. So tonight we're going to be talking about navigating Power BI services. So that's really going to be 100% demo. I don't have a lot of theoretical slide, fancy slide to go over. I already did that in the part one of this series. So today's session is just going to be 100% hands-on and demo, and just really playing around and seeing things for ourselves. So we'll navigate through Power BI services. We'll learn how to create dashboards and share those dashboards with our team members, using different methods. We'll learn how to, subscribe, have people also subscribe to our dashboard, and then we'll learn how to use Power BI Q&A, which allows you to basically ask Power BI any question about your reports. We'll also talked about, I already mentioned subscribing to Power BI, load data from application and from website. What we have done so far, we learned how to load data from Excel, and we loaded data from SQL Server as well. So today we'll learn how to load data from application in case we are faced with such project, to basically load data from either a website or a particular application, and then put it on our Power BI dashboard. All right. And then, of course, we'll analyze our sample data. So there's some sample data that comes with Power BI. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for them. So we'll play around with the sample data, just analyze it, and just see what we can really do with Power BI. If you have any question, I will recommend you Okay, sorry about that. If you have any questions, I will recommend you don't forget, if I give us opportunity to ask questions in between, we may not be able to go over a lot. So write down your questions. At the end of the presentation, you can ask questions. I don't mind going back to that page, or, you know, except, I don't know, I don't see anything. We're not going to be doing any major configuration that will have to go back for you to see. So just make sure you write down your questions. I'll be able to answer that for you. If it's a quick one, yeah, maybe, you can quickly ask or clarifying questions if necessary. But what I would prefer is hold the question to the end of the training, and then we can talk about them. All right. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to flip back to my Power BI. Um, it is on my secondary monitor, and bring it here. Oh, where is it? Where did it disappear to, man? All right, so I just had to move it away from my secondary monitor. I don't know what happened there. Okay, all right. So this is still Power BI desktop. We talked about this, and we all have great understanding of how Power BI desktop works. I know in our last demo, you guys probably did not see this. This is actually one of the visualization um, uh, icon. This is the map that you can use to basically, of course, it makes just common sense. You're able to use this to do any kind of calculation that has to do with region, country, city, or anything like that. All right, just like the other ones. The good thing about it is that they kind of like link together. If you click on any of this circle or the chart here, it will shift you to the actual region that you are interested in. So they kind of like work together. Okay. So how I got this, just I can do this again. Remove that. So you start by going to your map. I can use, let's say GDP. Okay. Let me expand it. And then if I want to check GDP by, say, country, I can do that. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so I can do by country. Just click and drag it here. And then if you over around any of this blue icon, which is a country, you can actually see, the GDP by that country. All right. So that's a good thing about Power BI. It just allows you to be able to, click on the data or over around, whatever it is you're trying to get, information, and you can get that. All right. I'm not going to waste time on here. In the last session, I did thorough walkthrough of the Power BI desktop. So I'm just going to flip over to the Power BI service. Okay. So once you publish your report, like we did last time, once you publish your report, you're going to see, it's going to bring you to the Power BI service. It's going to bring you to the Power BI service. And then from there, you can, play around with your data and do a lot. Sorry about this. Okay. All right. So the first thing we're starting with is navigating Power BI services. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So we'll just play around with the Power BI service and see what we can get from here. All right. So first thing first, on the Power BI service, this is where you get to create your dashboard. You get to add to favorite if you want, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Everything I'm having here, I can, if you click on this star, you can add it to favorite. Right now, let me unselect that. If I go to my favorite icon, I don't have anything here. If I go back to home and I feel like I want to add this report, employee TBL, as part of my favorite, I can just hit the start button, and maybe the world economy, I can do that as well. If I flip back now to favorite, I now have 2 reports there as part of my favorite. All right. Okay. All right. By default, is not always going to be on your favorite, so you have to click on start. So for any reason I want to remove it from my favorite, I just need to click on the star and it's gone. Okay, so let's go to my workspace. My workspace will basically consist of some of your report that you have created and published. Okay, so you'll find them here. So in my case, I have this report and this data set here. Now you need to understand the difference between the content and the data set. There are certain features that you cannot access if you have if you are on the content icon. So for example, if I want to refresh my reports, if I want to install a data gateway, I cannot access it from here. Let's say, for example, I go to world economy, go to the left side button. I don't have option to do that. We're going to talk about all these features tonight as time permits us. Okay, so it's all walkthrough of Power BI services tonight. So for you to be able to get some of those features, you have to flip over to the dataset plus data flow tab. So here you will be able to see, the different icon. If I hover around it, you're already seeing schedule refresh. If I click on this, then it's going to bring me to where I can schedule my refresh, where I can install my data gateway. I already have a data gateway installed, where I can schedule a refresh, and then Q&A, I can do it from here as well. Or rather, I can enable Q&A from here as well. You know what, since we're already here and in no particular order, I guess we can just be walking through some of these things and understand what they mean. So schedule refresh, I already have a schedule that I have enabled, but there are prerequisites that you must have taken care of before getting to this level. So you must have installed Power BI Data Gateway. If you don't install that, you will not be able to access the schedule refresh. All right. Now, what is the benefit of this? I think we did this last week or the last in our part 2. So this allows you to be able to specify when you want your data to be refreshed. Let's say, for example, you're pulling your data from SQL Server database. So you can actually specify, when you want that to happen. All right. You can add another time if you want. So the purpose of this add another time is if you are trying to specifically, add time that is not mentioned here by default, or a different time frame and you want to give condition for it, you can do that. But if you already have time here, you can select whatever you want and select the hour, the minutes, and of course, PM and AM is right here. Okay. Of course, you can also, by default, the refresh failure is sent to the owner. Who is the owner? Owner is the person that created the report. All right. You can also alternatively, in an enterprise environment, send the failure report to DBA team, your distribution email. So if you select this, and you can provide the distribution email here, so that if the refresh fails for any reason, you will be able to receive notification. All right. After that, you can click on apply, but we are not doing that tonight. Okay, data source credential. You need to be able to have access to your data source. If you don't have access to it, it will give you a bunch of errors here. In my case, I probably do. That's why you can see the database that I'm connected to. And you can also see the actual table. If I have multiple tables, they will show up here. And for any reason, something changes in my credential, I can actually come here as well and, update my credential by clicking on edit credentials. Okay, there's some report that may require parameter, but in this case, parameter haven't been defined for a data set. If you want to set a parameter, you have to use the query editor to set your parameter. I wouldn't even set parameter at this level. I will set it in my query before I do that. I already explained to you guys about schedule refresh. Now, Q&A is another feature that we're going to cover tonight. Let me move this away from here. What happened? All right, I was just moving something out of the way. Okay, so Q&A, it's a feature that we're going to be talking about. You have to enable it before you can use it. You have to enable it. We're going to talk about it. The function of Q&A just gives you that flexibility to basically ask. Yes, this cat was already enabled. Let's go back. Q&A. So, so the purpose of it is just to basically allow you to ask your report any question about your report. So you can basically type anything. Show me average employee salary or average sales in XYZ region. We're going to do that demo later, okay? So this is that's the purpose of that Q&A. For you to use that feature, you need to enable it, and this is where you enable it. You have to identify the data source, the data set, and then before you can access it. Okay. Featured Q&A question. Featured questions are shown as suggested for data set in Q&A. I think they work together. Endorsement, data set image. I don't think I have anything here. If I want to have a particular picture for my data set, I can actually specify that. I can, of course, click on upload. It will take me to my local PC, and I can select the image that I want to use and identify my data set. So once you are on that data set mode or under the data set tab, you will have access to other data set. For example, I have human resources sample data. I'm going to show you how to load this and how to get that. I already have mine there. Then you can set up. So whatever you have, so the features are pretty much the same, okay? But you have to select which report you are trying to make changes on. Okay, let's go back to my workspace. All right. Excuse me. So what else? So let's pick one any other report here. Let's pick world economy. I have to go to content and select the report that I want to view. So click on it and it's going to launch my report for me. All right. So there are a few things that we can do here. Remember this this section that we are learning right now, it's all about exploring the Power BI service. That's what we're doing. So in no particular order, we're just exploring the Power BI service and see what you can do. It's important to understand where these things are, how you can find them. If you don't know where they are, you can just, you have to Google everything you're doing. You don't want to do that, okay? So let's Remember, this is the service, not the Power BI desktop. However, from the service, if for any reason you want to make modifications to your report, you can actually do it right here and save it instead of going back to your Power BI desktop. How do you do that? You go to Edit. Click on Edit. It's going to open the same thing you saw when you were designing this report. You can change anything you want at this level. You can change the color. You can change the chart to a different kind of chart. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't look good. You got the gist of it. I'm gonna go back to it. You can also use the donut chart. Okay. Let me go back to this one. I like it. All right. But the goal of this is just to show you that if you click on the edit, you will be able to, you know, change something in your report. And once you're done, from this point, you cannot publish again. What you do is you save it. You save the changes. And how do you save it? Of course, that's your saving button right there. Okay. So you save it and then, excuse me, and then you can flip back to your reading view. See what I did? I click on my reading view and it brought me back here. All right. What else can we do? So if you click on the ellipsis button here, there are a few things that can be done. First of all, let's see related content. When you click on see related content, it will show you anything that is related to the report that you are viewing. In my case, I don't have any. I only have this single report, for this. There may be a situation where you may have reports that are related. Okay, you will find them together. To see that, you have to select that option that says see related content. Let's go back there again. Open lineage. So what the lineage basically does is that it will open a different tab and show you connection on how the data get connected. Okay, so in this case, for example, it's showing me that this data was derived from a web, and from web, we loaded it into, we created this report here on Power BI desktop, possibly, and then this is our final design, and then we push it here. It just shows you the path. Okay, now let me show you something else. Go back from here. Let's go back to the other screen. So if you you know what, let's use, let me try another report. All right, let me use this one. All right, so I'm using this one because we set it up. You guys remember how we did this? So if you remember the actual data, see from here, you can see the actual source. All right, this is coming from SQL Server, from a database called AdventureWorks 2019. And then of course, you can see that is a data gateway, that is connected to the actual report. And then the report was originally collected from, there's a connection, there's a data source here, that initially we got the data from, and we loaded the data into SQL Server. But from what we are seeing right now, you can see the connection on the relationship in the data. So if you check the lineage, it will just show you what are the connections within the reports. All right, you can see anything that is connected to it, the lineage, where it is coming from, where the data is coming from, what kind of configuration. And here we can see the last time this report was refreshed. You can see the date there, 2/25 at 21, which is, I believe, 9 o'clock, I believe. Oh, sorry, 2021 at 1:19 a.m. Okay, and that's the final report. So this will bring you back to the list of your content. So let's flip back to, I'm going to close that so I don't have a lot. All right, remember, we are still analyzing our Power BI service, okay? So what else do we have here? Open usage metrics. This will tell you how many people are using the views, when it was viewed, when, the total views. Just gives you information about your report. Just like social media, if you do a sponsored post and if you click on view insight, you can tell the reach and engagement, or whatever metrics that they have there. So Power BI has the ability, for you to be able to do that. Okay, let's go back before we do analysis. You can hit the back button and it will take you back. So that's it. Remember, we're going from here. And then we're going to come back to this later to pin to dashboard when we're creating a dashboard, because that is a topic on its own, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Now, the next tab here is subscribe. What is the purpose of subscribe? If you want to give access to other people, not just sharing the script, if you want to add subscribers to this report, you can actually do that. You click on add new subscription, and then you can by default, it is showing my email. And if I want to add somebody else, I can actually do that. Remember, that person must be a member of your network. That should be someone within your organization. Okay, you may not be able to send an email to an outsider. See, it says here recipient email address addresses outside of your organization can only be added for report or dashboard back end, or backed by premium capacity rather. So by default, you're not able to do this. You can send it to people outside the organization. But if it's someone that is within your organization and you put their email address, it should not be a problem. But there's some important part that you need to note here. So here you can actually modify a few things. You can actually include a message which makes sense. You just don't let people receive a blank report that may not really make sense to people. Okay, so you can add, this is whatever the report may be, our GDP report. Okay, so you can type anything there. Report page, because I did not name my report page. What is report page? I'm going to show you guys when we flip back. Let me go back here. This is my report page. This is page 1, page 2. Learn to name your report page so they're not just showing, just like when you're creating a table and the table name is table 1, table 2. Doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's why we have that. So you have to change it, not here. Frequency, you can do it daily, hourly, weekly, and monthly. All right, really up to you. Then if you go down, you can select, of course, the time that you want, the start date and the end date that you want this person to subscribe. Also include access to this report, link to report in Power BI, and preview image. So these are some of the things you want that person to do. If you don't want them to view the preview image or link to report in Power BI, you just want them to access this report, you can do that. So it is up to you, whatever you want. You have the power to do that, okay? And if you already have subscribers, you can also manage subscription. I don't have anything there, so kick me out. Let's go back. All right, that was out. So after you are done with that, let's go back again. After you're done with that, you need to remember you have to save and close. All right, I mean, common sense. So that's how you subscribe to your stuff. Now, this is another good, cool feature here, comments, where, users are able to make comment and you can mention someone from your team. You have to use the @ symbol, and say Bertie, and the name will come up. Of course, I don't have Bertie, sorry, we couldn't find any result. All right. So this is just for you to be able to add comment. I can say, I like it, but can you change the color? Hello. Okay. You can say anything and then post it. See, it says now, I like it, but can you change the color? So if I do this and I mention somebody, the person will be able to receive alerts either via their email. Of course, this would only work if you're dealing with someone within your organization. Excuse me, I had to drink some water. All right. Okay, so let's close this. All right, let's move on. So that's comment. Now, chat in Teams. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this, but the benefit of this is that it will connect you to your team and you will be able to search for a team or a channel. You can search for somebody or share it to a particular individual. Remember, you have to always add the @ symbol and mention the person's name. All right. Unfortunately, I'm not using a corporate domain, so it's so I'm not able to do that. But you can do art, and you mention the name of the group or the name of the individual you want to share this report with. All right, so that is what that is all about. What else? Share. I think we talked about it the other time. So the share, of course, allows you to be able to share this on reports. Okay, thank you. It's back. So if you click on report, share report, you are able to provide email to anybody you want. Again, it's warning me. One or more email addresses with the following domains are outside your organization. Are you sure you want to do that? If that is what you want to do, go ahead. All right. Now, once you're done with that, it's always good to make a short note. Like, hey, check out this report. I'm just playing around with Power BI. I turned our boring report that we used to send it on Excel spreadsheet. I was able to create a beautiful dashboard. Let me know what you think, Mr. Manager. You're like, oh, this is brilliant. I like it. All right. So you have to say that here. Okay. Allow recipient to share your report. You want to be careful while doing this. If it's within the organization, well, if your report doesn't have any sensitive data, you're able to do that. That's completely acceptable. Allow recipient to build new content using the underlying data set. Well, really depending on what report you're using. Now, if you don't want to send this old stuff and you just want to share the link, you can actually do that. You can come here and copy this link and email it to the individual or whoever you want to share this report with. Okay. All right. So I will cancel out of here. So that is sharing your report and email it to someone. The embed report, you need to have, I don't have any SharePoint online to share it with, but let's take a look at it. See, it's the embed link for SharePoint. Use the link below to securely embed this report in SharePoint page. We don't have everything it takes right now to be able to do that, but you have that option. I actually love this option here. Generate a QR code. This is going to generate actual QR code that you can actually take a picture of. But remember, for this to really work well, I think you need to have Power BI mobile on your phone. Okay. Now let me turn on my camera for a minute so you guys can see this. Let's demo this. So this is my phone, and I'm going to take, I just took it, and then immediately it was able to capture the report for me. All right, and I can say open, and it is loading immediately. I'm seeing the same report on my phone. Oops. See that? I don't know if you can see very well. It's kind of bright, but it doesn't matter. So I just I just used my camera, and then I scanned it, just like what is happening these days with new normal, right? You go to a restaurant to eat, they don't give you menu anymore. They will just, show you a code where you can just, a barcode where you can just scan, and then, pick your menu from there. So I think that's a really cool feature in Power BI that allows you to generate um, the QR code. All right. So that's it on that. Of course, export, it's very easy for us to understand. You can export it in any of this format. You can export it PowerPoint. And of course, let's try that. Export in PowerPoint, you have to exclude hidden report, only export current page. Yeah, we have only one page, so I can hit report. Just going to take a few seconds and it will create my report. So let's say this was a very complicated report that has multiple dashboards. I can actually share this report or can present it in a conference room for any meeting. Let's say we're trying to do analysis of our sales, sales, regional sales, or whatever it is, the report is all about. You can actually, do that and then just share it. You can, instead of you trying to capture the screenshot and trying to build another, presentation, you can just, export your Power BI report as a PowerPoint slide. Okay, while that is loading, I will have to move on because we have a lot to cover. And like I said, I want this to be, okay, all right, I think it's done. I want this to be the concluding part. Let's go ahead and open it. Of course, you need to have Microsoft PowerPoint before you can open it. Okay, there you go. So, come on, get out of here, man. Okay. All right, so that's my report right there. Okay, so I can present this and I can modify it from this level. If I say edit, see that? I'm able to, play around with my data. But from here, I don't think you can really change the actual report. You can't choose it, just like a screenshot at this point. Okay. All right, let's move on. Remember, if you have any question, please save it. We will get to it. Okay, of course, the same thing. If you want to export it using PDF, you can do that. You can also analyze in Excel, right? And we know this. Let's go ahead and hit it. You have to first, you need some Excel updates. Okay, I'm not ready to deal with that. So we already all know about Excel. So you can actually analyze the report through Excel. Okay, all right, let's look at file here. File, you can save a copy, you can download the PBIX file, and of course you can print this report, you can print this page. Let's see what we have on that setting. Setting, you can only change the name of the report. If I want to change it, I can change it. If I want to make description, I can do that. I can upload snapshot, see what else we can do here. The good thing about Power BI is that you really don't need to be a super pro in Power BI. You can't claim you know Power BI if you don't really have hands-on. You need to have worked with it. Some of the things that I'm showing you guys, believe me, I have played around with them. I've worked, I understand how they work. And initially, all I used to know about Power BI is, oh, okay, I can just access to any data source and pull my data and put it on my dashboard. But it's really more than that. This series has really taught us, the whole journey to Power BI and how to really design it and what kind of, depending on your data. Remember, you must understand your data very well. your ability of being able to come up with a beautiful Power BI report is heavily dependent on your knowledge of the data that you're dealing with. All right. If you don't understand your data, it will be difficult for you to, really take advantage of your Power BI. Okay. So that's it with the top menu. There are a few other things we're going to be looking at here. Of course, if you click here, it's just showing you, the page, the owner of the report. All right. What else do we have? Okay, creating dashboards and using Power BI Q&A. All right, let's do that. Okay, so how do you create a dashboard? You, after creating and designing your Power BI and you publish it on your Power BI service, it's good to have a dashboard. You can share dashboard. From your dashboard, you can see there are some features that you cannot see from your just regular Power BI service unless you create a dashboard. All right. Example of that is Q&A. All right. Q&A, you will be able to use Q&A when you have your Power BI pinned to a dashboard or create a dashboard. So how do we create a dashboard? You have to click on pin visual. Once you click on pin visual, it will prompt you to be able to either create a new dashboard or use existing dashboard. Okay. Now, if you want to select existing dashboard, you would find them here. I have this dashboard already created. If I want to use existing dashboard, since this report is actually World Economic Report, I can click on that and I can say pin. All right. The visualization has been pinned to the web view of your dashboard. Don't forget to pin it. So I was trying to read that. Okay. Now, another way to do this, if you come here, you can actually, okay, because I already pinned this one. All right, so you can also add a comment from this point. Some of the features that we saw on top, they're also here. Chat in Teams, export, show as a table. Let's do that. See, it allows you to show the data. It will show the map as well as, table, if it makes sense to you, depending on your data. Okay, let's go back to report. All right. What else? So there are tiny little things around the image, you need to pay attention to, that has extra information that if you don't know, believe me, it can frustrate your life. So you need to, understand how this thing works. Focus mode, when you click on focus mode, it just expands the whatever report that you are focusing on. Let's go back. I already have that pinned to dashboard. What else? Okay, all right. So now let's let me go back to my workspace. From my workspace, I can access my dashboards. So click on it and I can see my dashboard from here. And now under my content, you can differentiate your actual report and your dashboard. So if you see under type, you see where it says dashboard, this is a report, this is dashboard, report and dashboard. Okay. All right. Now let's click on each of them to view a dashboard. I don't even want to use a different report, but since we've been using this one, we can as well use it. Okay. All right. So this is my so it has multiple because I kept adding them to the dashboard. So if you have already existing dashboard and you are adding something else to that same dashboard, they are all going to show up like this. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. But clicking on that, I mean, since Q&A is part of the things that we are covering here, I guess we can as well do Q&A for it. So the Q&A, like I mentioned before, is just basically a new feature that allows you to be able to ask a question, ask Power BI questions about your report. Okay. You can see up here, it said new Q&A experience. Oh man, let me go back. Same thing. Seeing the whole world. Okay. So sorry, I'm looking for something. Let's see the dashboard theme. We're gonna actually talk about the mobile view. We'll do that later. Oh, come on. Okay, we go back to square one. We go back to, you know what, let's select another report. Let's see. Oh, what I wanted. Go back to here. Need another report. Dashboard. Okay, after you don't have a dashboard on this guy. So I'm going to I'm going to pin that to dashboard. Actually, I'll create a new dashboard. Since the previous demo, the previous exercise was we're using existing dashboard. So what is this report called? This is employee information. So I can call it employee information. Did I spell something wrong? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you can also copy visual as image. You can do some filters here. There you go. Go to dashboard. So sometimes the dashboard just looks the same, but it's really not the same. Dashboard is a little different. Let's see here. So if you notice, every time I click on any of this chart here, it affects the data, that is displaying in other views because the data, they are kind of like, they're the same, they are connected. Okay. What else? I'm going to come to this later. How we can access, connect to application and a website. We'll do that in a minute. What those? We already did this with via lineage. View usage metrics, settings. Setting will just show you information about the report. Let's go back here. What else? Sorry guys, I'm actually just I think we've seen everything here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything that let's see, edit details. No, I still brought you here. Okay, I think we have covered some of the things listed here. What else? Let's view the Q&A. Let's wait for it to view, just so you guys can just see how it works. I don't know why it's taking time, but let's give it like a few seconds. Okay, but while that is loading, I'm not going to click on something else, but I can explain something else to you guys while we wait for it. So we have gone through everything on Power BI services menu. All right, we went through all of that. And then we started talking about, of course, this is a homepage, the favorite. I've explained this already, the recent. If you're not sure the location of your file, of course, we should be familiar with this. Excuse me. Should be familiar with this. And if you want to create a brand new report, you can actually create a brand new report from here. I don't want to click since I'm waiting to show you guys the Q&A. Let's wait for it to load. So you can actually create a new report from here. It will give you two options where you can create a report manually and where you can pull a report from already existing dashboard. Okay. Once that is done, I'm probably going to show you guys that again. Of course, this is your data set and this is your apps. So this app basically allows you to be able to connect to other online applications. Okay, so we're going to have example of that where we can actually, load an application to our Power BI, and some of those applications are free. Some of them you will have to pay for them. Of course, we have a lot that are free, so you don't want to pay for anyone if you can actually, get them for free. Then this shared with me just basically display all the report that has been shared with you. Okay, and then this is just like a learning part learning path. So if you're trying to learn more about Power BI, there are some basic information that you can learn, from here. Now, workspace will basically show you generic workspace information that you have. For example, if you have any apps that you already loaded to your workspace, it will be on that workspace, okay? Not my workspace necessarily. All those external application services website, they will be under workspaces, okay? Then my workspace will just have strictly the things that the report that you have designed. Honestly, I'm not sure why it's taking that time. We don't have time to wait for it. Sorry. Let's exit that. Okay, all right. So recent, like I said, will show you all the recent report that you've opened. Create will show you two tabs. Like I said, you can paste or manually enter any data. Click on that. It will give you option to manually enter data. You put the name of the table and then you create it manually. Select a published data set, okay? If you want to select any data set that has been published, in my case, I have all this data set. I can select from any of them and then I will be able to recreate that report, okay? All right, then of course, these are my data set that I have available, and this is app. Like I said, I already have this app here. Let's say I didn't have that, or I want to get more apps from Microsoft App Store. I can actually click on that button and it will show me different apps available. And this apps, they're just apps that you can, use for either training purposes for now that you're training and learning Power BI. But at work, it could actually be a requirement. It could be that there is a requirement for you to actually load data from some application, from Salesforce, from any app that you guys have. You can actually select the application and load it. So I'm just going to pick one and randomly load it here. You know what, let me use the one of the application that I know is free. Here, what is this called? Let's use Sales Navigator. There you go. All right, so click on it, and it's just going to ask you some question and agreeing that Microsoft can share your information. Well, you don't have a choice, so you have to say yes. So make sure you look at the pricing. It says free, right? It says free. So you can get it now. And it's just saying that Microsoft will share your information. If you don't mind, there's no way to escape that. If you don't select it, then there's no demo for you. Okay. So that is going to load the data, and then you can hit install, and it will start to install my Sales Navigator application to my Power BI. All right, so while that is loading, I already have another application that I loaded here. It's called Dynamic Ship Analysis. If you click on it, it will give you access to be able to analyze this, this shipping company. All right, it's still loading, still loading. We'll be able to play around with the data. Okay, I clicked on one and then it showed me that. And just like any Power BI report, if you hover around any of this chart, you can get information about the total packages, total shipments, and all of that. Okay. All right, so this is the ask question that I was looking for. So this, I hope this doesn't take time. Oh, this is fast. So now the purpose of this feature, Q&A feature, is actually a very cool feature. All right. First of all, it will show you what kind of questions you can ask. You want to show all suggestions, you can select all. So you can ask any question, count month, years, show average packages for the last year. Show me average, top sales shipment, shipping agent by total number of packages. So whatever it is, you just need to type it here. You can say, show me average, whatever, average, I didn't type my average correctly. Oh, I said mine. Show me average okay, average number of packages. It will show me average number of packages. Now the same way I'm typing show me average number, I can type almost anything that I want that makes sense to that data. Remember, you need to know your data for it to make sense to you. Okay. So that is how you add an application, online application to your Power BI. Okay, this may be a sample, but you may actually have a requirement to do this at work. All right, so you understand that it is possible for you to load data from any application, from any source to your environment. All right. Okay, all right, let's move on to something else and then start to wrap things up. Quick insight, these are just still information about that report. Dynamic ship analysis, the summary, shipping summary, all of that. Okay, all right, I think we should move on to other things. Let's keep going. Or I can just hit Power BI and it will take me to my home. All right, let me stop a little bit and take a few questions and we'll continue. Any questions? Question. And raise your hand if you have any question to ask. Okay. All right. If there are no questions, let's move on. So let's see what else do we have in our agenda. So I just make sure we cover everything. Navigating Power BI services, creating dashboard, we've done that. Using Power BI Q&A, we've done that. Subscribing to Power BI, we've done that. Load data from application and website, we have done that. So analyze sample data, I think we have also done that. Now let's do something else. So remember I mentioned that if for any reason you want to design your Power BI on your Power BI service, you can actually do that from here, okay? So if you look down here, there's option here that says get data. So click on it, it will show you option to get data from your organization, from services. So you choose app from online services that you use. So I think we use that, okay? Files. Now what, let's give it a shot. Let's try it. So discover app published by other people in your organization. So if I click on this, I don't have any, but of course, if you do have, it will show up there. Now, this will take us to where we've been before, which is all the apps online, and you can select any application here. Of course, depending on your need, you can just search for whatever application. And use Salesforce if it's free. I'm not going to load it. I already did one to show you guys. All right, so this one is free. You can play around with that, free data, but there's really no free lunch. So you need to give them your information. You can also load data from your files from your local machine. So bring in your report, workbooks, or data from your Excel, Power BI desktop, or your CSV files. You can do that. So if you click on that, it will give you all these options. You can load from your local files, from OneDrive personal or business, or you can even get it from SharePoint. Cool. Then, of course, we have this option here from databases or more. You can load the data from the SQL Server, Azure database, Azure SQL Data Warehouse, SQL Server Analysis Services, and Spark on Azure HD Insight. So these are some of the cool stuff you can do with Power BI and much more. There are some advanced features, some advanced things. If you understand data modeling, you can do data modeling using Power BI. You know, some of the things that you can, there's an option. We talked about that in our previous video, in our previous webinar, where we analyze data. We also learn how to transform the data, how to use the data modeling and change the data, change the data type, or anything in the data that we feel we really want to change. Okay. What else? Of course, you can create new reports from here, just like we had, you know, on the other side. Okay, I think I'm going to accept questions now. Any questions? So this is really a concluding part. Really a concluding part. So we're looking at, you know, so in this whole series, we've learned about, you know, what Power BI is, and then we have a good understanding of how to load data from Excel, from SQL Server, or any source, you know, doesn't really matter, you know, and then of course, we learn how to design, how to use some of the features in Power BI desktop. One more thing before we go. So let's take a look at something I just thought of. The Power BI, viewing it on, let's see, report. Let's see here. No, this part, I'm not sure I mentioned anything around this. This is just to, you know, just how you want your screen to be. If I click on full screen, of course, it will be full fit to width. So whatever however you want your screen, to come out, you can do that. Oh, something else. Just want to make sure that we have covered almost everything, if not everything. And you have, okay, so help and support, you can, if you hover your mouse around the help and support, you can get some information here, getting started with Power BI, documentation, learn community, get help, Power BI for developers, privacy, and all this cool information. Okay, so there's no better way to learn Power BI than to play around with it. Some of the features that you have seen me use here, you may not be able to have access to it if you are not using the premium. Okay, you can download the premium edition for free, and it would be valid for 60 days, I believe. I think mine is still still having 44 days left. I think I'm ready for you guys to ask questions. If there's anything you did not understand, I know we're just doing a walkthrough. Everything that we are clicking, I've explained them to you. Make sure you watch the previous videos, the part 1 and the part 2. You can also do there's some free stuff here. If you want, if you like free things, you can come here and learn how to use Power BI, start learning. Yeah, remember I said workspace. Once you add some application, it will show under workspaces. Yep. I think we've covered some of the basic things that okay. Any questions? Okay, so sorry, let's wrap this up then. So in this series, we have this was just, that's why we call it overview of Power BI. It's not for you to know everything about Power BI, but just to give you overview that you will not be blank about Power BI. You will understand what Power BI is, different components of Power BI. Probably did not cover all the components available in Power BI, but we covered most of them in the part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. We learned how to load reports from different sources, how to design dashboard, and also how to manage it, how to create gateway, how to schedule refresh, and how to share our report with our team members, and different ways, in managing our report. We also learn how to navigate our Power BI services. We created a dashboard. We learn how to use the Power BI Q&A to ask our data questions, subscribing to Power BI, loading data from application, website, and of course, analyzing the sample data, which in our case, we use the shipping company data to do the analysis after loading it as an application. All right, so I guess we've come to the end of this series. If you guys have questions, I will be more than happy to answer. All right, if there are no questions, I would like to thank everybody. I guess this is the end of this series. Thank you.